When the war broke out in February of 2022, I was watching the news like so many other people. We were seeing the atrocities that came in, children, old people getting bombed, and I kept thinking, I wish there was something I could do to help. Our church asked me to teach on Matthew 24 and 25, some specific verses there. And as I read through those verses, Jesus is talking about a coming destruction of Jerusalem, and he said, you know, there'll be wars and rumors of wars, there'll be much suffering, pain, pestilence, and problems. But he said, don't let your love grow cold, and don't be afraid. And those words just echoed to me as I watched these news reels of what was happening in Ukraine, and hearing Jesus' words, I just said, I wish there was something I could do to help. And then I met a young man who I heard was going over to Ukraine every month because he had been in the Peace Corps and lived there for 15 years after the Peace Corps. Edward Ma is his name. And I met Edward working out at the gym one day, and I said, maybe I could go. Maybe there's something I could do to help. I learned from Ed how to get over into the country, and he introduced me to a doctor friend that he knew, Dr. Adrian Malska, and she brought me into Ohkhmatdyt Hospital. So with myself, my brother, another physician, and a businessman friend, we went over in June for the first time.
So actually, when the war started, my husband's and my old friend Edma from Texas, he made such a messenger group, me and one more of his friends from Peace Corps. And he wrote me that there are doctors who actually want to come and help the wounded soldiers. I tried to connect them with the military hospital, but at the beginning of war it was very secret and closed, and it was difficult to get in. And I said, okay, just come to my hospital, just have an excursion.
We were met with open arms, with excitement and appreciation for coming. The doctors told us, we're so grateful that you came. You let us know that we're not alone in the world. And they eagerly accepted our help. We brought medical supplies. And from that, a relationship developed. I was even introduced to doctors and people in the military hospital, and worked in the military hospital and several other hospitals in Lviv. At our first visit, we were introduced by Peter Martinoff, a medical director of the Peace Corps. And he said, there's somebody I want you to meet. Dr. Rudy Mayevich is with the Christian Medical Association of Ukraine. And I went, and Rudy introduced me to his staff. He showed me how he had been collecting supplies from all over Europe and the world to distribute out to the different hospitals. And I said, hey, this is great work you're doing in the name of and in the love of Jesus. And I said, we come in the love of Jesus, trying to help and share and do good work and help healing. And I said, I don't know where this will go, but let's pray for one another. And I said, I'll say the first prayer and then you finish. And I prayed for the work that they're doing, and Rudy prayed for our work too. But then he prayed such a touching prayer that I still get goosebumps when I think about it. He asked, Lord, if we have to suffer, let us suffer in a way that's honorable, with dignity, and that pleases you, and may we always serve you and love and serve others.
For the first meeting, we understood that our vision with Craig, Hobart, and Stephen are the same in Christian Medical Association: education, helping people, and preaching gospel.
Rudy has helped us when we come, getting us across, and we've helped him with different needs he has. So it's been a great relationship. I was coming back in Chicago, still coming back to Texas, and I called him and said, Craig, it was great. It was a very successful trip. And he couldn't wait to go. He said, let's go. And I said, Craig, I'm not even home yet.
You know, I was retired, and I don't think very many things could make me come out of retirement and go to Ukraine. And, you know, Steve went with us to Haiti, and he found out what a very special organization LEAP was. And I met with him face to face, and he had planted the seeds, and I saw the passion he had for Ukraine and the people, and his strong feeling that it was all about serving the Lord, and the Lord was moving in a big way in Ukraine, and he wanted to be part of it, and I started feeling that same way, as what could be more important.
Anyway, we went a couple of months later, and Craig has such great skills, that many skill sets that I don't have, so between the two of us we were able to work at 3 different hospitals, and it's continued to grow.
When I went to Ukraine for the first time with Steve, that was September, and it was just he and I. And we went to multiple hospitals, including 2 children's hospitals and the military hospital, and we saw that there was just immense talent and hunger for knowledge from the doctors and nurses and in Ukraine, and they were so bright and so talented and so eager to become among the best in the world. They were just so limited in their training, their equipment, and their facilities. So for us to be a small part of that, it lit a fire as we got to come back and we got to do everything we can to help them advance in whatever way we can.
After Dr. Orten and Dr. Hobart returned from Ukraine, the LEAP board made 3 initial commitments to 4 hospitals in Lviv, Ukraine. The first commitment was to help clear the backlog of patients who were waiting for complicated surgical procedures. The second commitment was to help the local surgeons and orthodontists gain additional knowledge in complex surgical management in craniofacial cases. The third commitment was to show Christ's love to the people of Ukraine through faith in action. This trip couldn't have been possible without our generous partners, Razom, Walter E. Hussman Jr., the Irving Church of Christ, the Mansfield Church of Christ, some very generous friends, and our very important strategic partner, the Christian Medical Association of Ukraine. For LEAP to be successful in foreign countries, we require a local partner to help facilitate the logistics of our mission trip. Rudy, along with the assistance of Razom, provided the support for us in Ukraine through CMA's EduCare program.
Our project EduCare, we're bringing foreign specialists here to work together hand by hand with Ukrainian doctors, and we are sending Ukrainian doctors to world-class hospitals.
Because the Lviv hospitals were fairly modern and well-staffed, this would not be a typical LEAP mission trip with a huge support staff. This would be a small team of highly trained professionals who could rely on the local surgical staff to support their work. Taking a smaller team was also important as Ukraine is an active war zone, and Russians have specifically targeted civilian areas, including hospitals, public spaces, and even ambulances.
Yes, going to a country at war has risks and unknown risks, but God's purpose for us is greater than any risk. And if we stay in our comfort zone and we don't do things because something might happen, that's not true faith in the Lord. So you don't go out and do something silly to test that. You don't test the Lord, but you do have faith that when the Holy Spirit is giving you direction, that you move forward in that.
There was some risk in going to Ukraine.
Welcome to Ukraine! First step in a war zone.
I have to say, it was a bit unnerving that as we commuted to Ohkhmatdyt hospital the first day, we heard the air raid siren go off. This wasn't going to be a typical LEAP trip.
You know, it's a situation when you have to take risks, and different people, different organizations have different attitude towards risk tolerance. It could be quite unsafe, it could be quite unstable here. Not all of the foreigners or mission workers or organizations are willing to take those risks.
They're brave enough, courage enough to come here, not just for 1 hour, make a photo and go away, but to stay here, be here, and only presence are showing we with you.
Here we have a bunch of American doctors who are not scared of shellings and bombs, because we had these things here in Lviv as well, although it looks very peaceful and safe. So I admire their bravery, and yeah, it's cool that we are bonding, exchanging experience.
We together in this war, so their presence, it is amazing, and that they are continue to support. It's not one visit, ongoing. Every 3-6 months they're coming to us. So this is amazing.
It's not only about the risk, it's about, you know, sacrificing your time, and basically I know these wonderful doctors are very busy back home with, you know, full schedule of surgeries and consultations.
You would like to work with professional doctors, but sometimes they're not flexible. You can work with flexible doctors, but sometimes they're not super professional. And when we have combination of in Craig and Stephen, those two mainly deep qualities, it is amazing. So, and patient feel it. Patient, when they're praying with them, it is amazing to see. Maybe sometimes they can even say, we cannot operate, but pray and say word of encouragement. So I happy to see, glad to see the faces when patients are smiling and having hope in that face.
East of Ukraine is suffering a lot right now, so we have lots of families who moved here from the east. So we have more patients, more children with different problems. Lots of children were born during war. Those who were pregnant also had a significant stress and lived in horrible conditions for some time. So we need to provide more medical help right now. This is why we need also our colleagues from the United States to come and to exchange their experience, to guide, to give some expertise. And, you know, in scientific world, it's very important, yes, because if you know who is doing what, you can learn more and you can grow faster.
Education is a real need in Ukraine. They do 6 years of medical school, but this really hands-off, mostly book learning, a little bit of watching and observing. So once they graduate, then they may do a couple of years of general surgery, and then they do a specialty of 6 months, and then they're a plastic surgeon. Now that's about 6 or 8 years less training than we receive. So much of their, while they have excellent doctors and they have excellent skills, their education is in its infancy. They're young people that are very thirsty for education. There has been quite a shift in the medical training from the old Soviet system to a newer democratic state, and they're making great strides. They're passionate about learning, and they're just sponges. They want to soak up and learn, and they're very humble too, which is wonderful because they're just eager to learn. And so everywhere I go, we talk about what can we help you with. The main thing they tell us is that they want to learn. They want to learn from us. They want education, and they want us to help them grow as surgeons and doctors, and so they can take care of their Ukrainian patients and the Ukrainian people.
It's very important for learning and growing because you cannot be in your own shell. You need to learn from the best.
They can teach our doctors. They can show example of new techniques. They can read lectures as it was today and yesterday. All this will help to arise surgery in Ukraine, and a lot of patients will come to our hospitals and say, we don't need to go abroad because we have a qualified medical aid in Ukraine.
They bring here kind of their knowledge, their experience, which is huge, but I think it's more than that. It's not only like technical skills, technical knowledge they share, they also share love of Jesus Christ. They show it. My colleagues, my Ukrainian colleagues see it. They see their actions and they see their attitude. I think it's the greatest testimony of faith, that the greatest testimony of love towards other people, especially towards people that are in trouble, to those injured
They encourage us. We know that they are with us because we psychologically are depressed by Russian aggression, and your support is very important for us. The presence of foreign doctors is very important for the patients. They trust world medicine more even than Ukraine, because we have always a lack of equipment, a lack of medicine, a lack of routine things for treatment.
I can see the fruits of their work, and I think this is priceless to see those smiles.
It was an amazing experience to see the Ukrainian people and their unity and their determination to maintain their freedom and their determination to not only win the war no matter what and never ever give up, but to carry on a normal life and not show a country attacking them in war that they were going to be able to disrupt their lives in every way they can. So winning the war, yes, but also winning the war in a more indirect way by living your life to the fullest despite being attacked by one of the strongest military powers in the world. It really was very, very impressive, and I think it's a light to the world, and I think it's a message to the world that yes, good can overcome evil, but it's got to be a united effort, and we got to drop our political differences, and we all got to be on the side of good. And you know, that's where Jesus Christ has tried to show us to go. And whether Jesus has spoken to you directly yet or not, he's calling you, and the Spirit's at work, and God's at work, and it's all leading toward good, and it's all shutting down evil, and it's all being united in doing it.